Imagine holding a single coin in your hand, a coin so ordinary that it has likely passed through the pockets, purses, and cash registers of millions of Americans. Yet, hidden within its seemingly simple design lies the potential to change a life forever. That coin, the 1968 Lincoln cent, but not just any 1968 penny, the rare, elusive nomant mark variety, a coin that has shocked collectors and investors alike, with market sales reaching as high as $787,000 for top-condition examples. Yes, you heard that right, a coin that could have been sitting in your drawer, in your couch cushions, even in your loose change jar, might actually be worth more than a house, more than a luxury car, more than many of us will ever dream of owning. How is it possible that a single penny, a coin we take for granted every day, could command such staggering prices? The story begins in a tumultuous year, 1968. America was a nation in turmoil. Secessions, protests, and social upheaval shaped the landscape. Amidst all this, the United States Mint quietly produced Lincoln cents. Following the familiar design that had been in place since 1909. Normally, coins of this era bore the familiar D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But a tiny fraction of pennies, just a few thousand out of millions, emerged without any mint mark at all. At first glance, a no-mint mark penny might look like every other Lincoln cent. Its copper surface gleams with the warm, familiar hue of American currency. Yet the absence of that little letter is what transforms it from a mere coin into an object of desire, a collector's holy grail, a potential ticket to unimaginable wealth. So how does a coin lose its mint mark in the first place? Experts point to errors during the minting process, small, almost imperceptible mistakes that occur when the machinery falters. In 1968, the Philadelphia Mint, one of the busiest coin-producing facilities in the country, was churning out millions of pennies every day. On rare occasions, dies were swapped incorrectly, or minting errors caused pennies to leave the facility without the iconic D or S mark. What most of us see as a tiny flaw, collectors see as a golden opportunity. Because in the world of numismatics, rarity is everything, and demand skyrockets when scarcity collides with perfection. Imagine for a moment that you are holding a pristine 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, its copper sheen flawless, its strike sharp, its surfaces unblemished by decades of circulation. That coin, in what collectors call gem mint condition, could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. In fact, documented sales have pushed the value as high as $787,000. That's not a typo. Nearly $800,000 for a single penny. Now, here's the twist. Millions of pennies were minted in 1968. Billions, even. Yet only a few of these no-mint mark rarities have surfaced. Could one of them be sitting quietly in your piggy bank, your change jar, or your desk drawer, waiting for you to notice? The thought is thrilling, terrifying. What if the fortune of a lifetime has been slipping through your fingers unnoticed for decades? To understand why this coin commands such mind-boggling prices, we need to delve into the psychology of collecting. Numismatics is more than a hobby, it is a treasure hunt, a search for perfection, a pursuit of rarity. Collectors do not simply want any coin. They want the coin that almost no one else has. And the 1968 Noment Mark Lincoln cent, with its near-mythical status, is the ultimate prize. The excitement builds when you realize that, unlike gold or stocks, the coin cannot be replicated. Its rarity is fixed, its value finite. Every newly discovered specimen adds a spark to a market already aflame with competition. And make no mistake, competition is fierce. Major auction houses, private collectors, and even wealthy investors scour coin shows, online marketplaces, and estate sales, all hoping to uncover the next $1 million penny. Sometimes, a single auction sees multiple offers flying in from around the globe. Can you imagine the adrenaline, the tension? As the hammer comes down and the coin changes hands for a price that could make a first-time investor gasp. This is not fiction. This is the reality of the rare coin market. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Before you start rummaging through every jar of pennies you own, it's important to understand that condition is king. A Noment Mark 1968 penny in worn circulated condition might fetch a few $1,000s. Still significant but far from the life-altering sums of a flawless example. Gem-quality coins, however, are a different story entirely. These coins are untouched by decades of handling, with sharp details, pristine surfaces, and a luster that can make even seasoned collectors stop in awe. A coin like that doesn't just sell. It commands attention, ignites bidding wars, and becomes the centerpiece of a collection. Here's where the suspense really comes in. While top-condition specimens have achieved eye-popping prices, most 1968 Noment Mark pennies are yet to be discovered. Some may have been stashed away in old coin collections, hidden in safety deposit boxes, or forgotten in drawers. Every coin that resurfaces has the potential to break records, rewriting the history of numismatic sales. Could your change jar be hiding a fortune? It's a question that turns ordinary Americans into detectives, treasure hunters, and dreamers overnight. Of course, spotting a genuine Noment Mark penny isn't always straightforward. Counterfeits and misidentified coins abound. A true collector must know exactly what to look for: the absence of a mint mark, the quality of the strike, the texture of the metal, and even subtle differences in color. A single misstep can cost tens of thousands of dollars or worse, leave you holding a coin worth only its face value. That's where education, vigilance, and perhaps a little bit of luck come in. But consider this: the thrill of discovery, the possibility of instant wealth, and the legacy of owning a coin few have ever seen. It's intoxicating. Imagine the phone call from an auction house. "We verified your coin. It's genuine. Its estimated value, $500,000. Or the email from a collector: "We want to purchase your 1968 Noment Mark penny immediately. Name your price." Suddenly, the mundane object in your hand transforms into a story of fortune, fame, and destiny. And yes, there is urgency here. Rare coins are not just collectibles. They are finite resources. Every year, more coins are lost to circulation, damage, or destruction. The longer one waits, the fewer pristine examples remain. What is in your drawer today could be gone tomorrow, and with it, it's the chance to claim a piece of history and perhaps even your financial freedom. Now, let's pause for a moment. You might be asking, could a single penny really make me wealthy? The answer is yes, but only if it's the right penny. In the right condition, and you approach it with knowledge and caution. This is not a lottery ticket. This is a calculated opportunity, a rare intersection of rarity, timing, and condition. And that's exactly what makes the 1968 No-Men Mark Lincoln cent so fascinating, so powerful. Consider for a moment the stories of those who have struck gold with coins like this. Ordinary people, completely unaware of what they held, suddenly thrust into the spotlight. One moment, they were cleaning out drawers. The next, they were part of a multi-million-dollar auction. Their discovery, documented in collector circles, news outlets, and online communities. The thrill, the disbelief. The joy is a life-changing moment that few can imagine until it happens to them. And there's another layer here. The coin is not just a financial asset. It is a piece of history. The 1968 No-Mint Mark Lincoln cent tells a story of American industry, precision, and accident. It carries the legacy of a nation in upheaval, minted in a year of protest, violence, and transformation. Holding it connects you to that history, to the hands of countless Americans who used, lost, and cherished pennies over decades. It is, in every sense, both a relic and a treasure. So, what should you do next? Start looking. Check your loose change. Inspect old collections. Educate yourself on what a genuine No-Mint Mark 1968 penny looks like. Seek expert advice. And remember, every great discovery starts with awareness, curiosity, and a willingness to dig deeper than anyone else. In the end, the 1968 No-Mint Mark Lincoln cent is more than a coin. It is possibility frozen in copper. It is the thrill of discovery, the allure of wealth, and the testament to the fact that sometimes fortune hides in the most unexpected places. One day, someone will find the next top-condition specimen, and it could change their life forever. Could it be you? Could the very penny in your hand be the one that redefines what is possible? Time is ticking. Millions of pennies circulate daily, but the rarest of them all, the 1968 No-Mint Mark Lincoln cent, remains a legend. And legends, my friends, are meant to be discovered. So ask yourself, are you just going to let it sit there, in your pocket, on your counter, or in that dusty jar? Or are you ready to uncover a fortune that has been hiding in plain sight for over half a century? The choice is yours, but remember, opportunity waits for no one. And history favors the bold, because sometimes a single penny can be worth more than all your dreams combined. We're talking about the 1970 Lincoln 1 cent, a penny minted in Denver. Just like millions of others that flooded the market that year. But hidden among the ordinary, among the countless pennies that ended up in couch cushions. cash registers, and piggy banks, is a version so rare, so mysterious, that collectors have been chasing it for decades. And some have been rewarded beyond their wildest dreams. Now, before you roll your eyes, thinking it's just a penny, let's pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what if the coin you've had tucked in a drawer, in a jar of loose change, or in an old wallet is worth more than your car, more than your vacation fund, more than a year's salary? It sounds like a fairy tale, but for those who know the secret, it's very real. So, what makes the 1970D Lincoln cent so special? To understand that, we need to dive into a story that begins with a printing anomaly mistake that, ironically, has made this penny one of the most sought-after coins in modern American history. Most Lincoln cents are straightforward. They were mass-produced with millions minted each year. But in 1970, something unusual happened in the Denver Mint. Some pennies were struck with what collectors now call the double die obverse, or DDO. Imagine Lincoln's profile on the coin. But if you look closely, the details his jawline. The words liberty, even the date appear doubled. Not a subtle shadow, not a slight blur. It's a striking, almost eerie duplication that sets the coin apart from every other penny in circulation. Now, here's the kicker. Only a tiny fraction of 1970D pennies show this anomaly. Out of tens of millions minted, only a few hundred, maybe fewer, exist in pristine condition today. And condition is everything. Because this isn't just about having the coin, it's about having the coin in a state that makes collectors, dealers, and investors salivate. Consider this, a coin in near-mint condition and circulated. Untouched, with every detail sharp and crisp, has been reported to sell for as much as $783,000. Yes. Nearly $800,000 for a penny. A coin most people overlook while paying for coffee or groceries. Can you imagine holding a coin in your hand that could change your life in a single transaction? It's a head-spinning, almost unbelievable thought. But history proves it. So how do you know if the penny in your possession might be worth something extraordinary? This is where the story gets even more fascinating. Experts tell us that spotting a 1970D double die isn't as simple as glancing at a date. You have to look at the tiniest details, examine the letters, the numbers, even the lines in Lincoln's face. And for the average person, this can feel daunting. But here's a little secret. With patience, magnification, and a bit of detective work, the ordinary can suddenly reveal itself as the extraordinary dot. And here's another twist that adds urgency. Many of these pennies are still hiding in homes across the country. They could be in your wallet. They could be in a shoebox in the attic. They could be in the pocket of a jacket you haven't worn in years. Every day that passes without checking means a missed opportunity. Every day someone else could be cashing in on a fortune that could have been yours. Now, let's pause for a moment and consider the stakes. What if that coin you dismiss as insignificant is the key to retiring early, paying off debts, funding a dream you've been putting off for years? The reality is stark. Most people never discover the treasures in their own hands, and they end up leaving opportunities on the table that could have changed their lives forever. Fear of missing out isn't just a cliché, here it's the raw truth. But let's take a step back. How did a simple minting error become a potential jackpot? The story begins at the Denver Mint in 1970, during a period of intense production. The demand for pennies was high, and the machinery ran non-stop. Amidst this frenzy, a misalignment occurred in the dies used to strike the coins. The result? That now famous doubling on the obverse, creating a coin that collectors would eventually recognize as one of the crown jewels of modern numismatics. What's even more compelling is that the market for these coins has a kind of pulse-rhythm that reflects the collector community's obsession with rarity. When one of these pennies appears in an auction, it doesn't just sell, it ignites bidding wars. It captures headlines. It transforms ordinary collectors into instant millionaires. And yes, there have been multiple sales in the six-figure range, each one reinforcing the legend of the 197OD Lincoln cent. So, how do you navigate this world of hidden wealth? It starts with awareness. The moment you realize that even the smallest coin could hold massive value, your perspective changes. You start looking at every penny not just as currency, but as a potential ticket to fortune. It's a thrilling mindset shift, and one that can turn everyday habits like digging through loose change into life-altering quests. But there's a catch. Not every 1970D penny is a gold mine. Many are common, circulated coins that hold no special value beyond a few cents. The secret is in the details, the precision, and the condition. It's the difference between holding a penny that's worth 1 cent and holding a penny that could make you a millionaire. This is why collectors and investors alike are willing to scrutinize coins under magnification, using lights, loop lenses, and years of expertise to separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. Here's a revelation that will make you sit up straight. Some people who discovered these coins and change never expected their lives to change. They found them in jars, in drawers, even in rolls of pennies they picked up at the bank. And once the discovery was made, everything changed. They entered a world where a coin could command nearly $800,000. Where the knowledge of rarity became the key to financial liberation. The lesson: treasure can appear anywhere, and often it's hiding in plain sight. And now, here's the cliffhanger moment. What if the coin you have right now, or the coins you find tomorrow, could be the next record breaker? What if, hidden among the ordinary pennies, is a 1970 Lincoln cent in mint condition, waiting for discovery? The potential is real. The stakes are real, and the opportunity may never present itself again. As we approach the climax of this story, consider this: the thrill of discovery is only half the story. The other half is action. Those who have transformed a simple penny into a life-changing fortune didn't just marvel at the coin, they acted. They verified it, authenticated it, and placed it in the hands of collectors or investors who understood its value. And when the gavel fell at auction, their lives were irrevocably changed. So, what does this mean for you? It means vigilance. It means curiosity. It means holding that jar of pennies, examining that dusty drawer, and asking the crucial question, could one of these be my ticket to financial freedom? The journey from obscurity to fortune often begins with a single step, a single coin. Remember, opportunity favors the prepared. The 1970 Lincoln cent is more than just a coin. It's a story of chance, of rarity, of the extraordinary hiding within the mundane. It's a reminder that sometimes the most valuable things in life are the ones we overlook. And it's a call to action. Don't let your fortune slip past unnoticed. Examine, inspect, investigate, because the next one, 970D, doubled I, could be sitting right under your nose in the end. It's not just about the money, though. The money is staggering. It's about the thrill, the suspense, the audacity of discovering something remarkable in the most ordinary of places. It's about knowing that one coin could unlock a future you never thought possible. And that, my friends, is the power of the 1970D. Lincoln once sent a tiny piece of history with the potential to make history in your life. So, the question remains, are you ready to look a little closer at your pennies? Are you ready to uncover the hidden treasures that could change everything? Because out there, waiting in jars, drawers, and coin rolls, the extraordinary waits, and it's calling your name. At first, it sounds like an urban legend, a fairy tale spun by numismatists with a taste for drama. But the truth is far stranger and far more exciting. In the world of coin collecting, rarity doesn't always mean old. It doesn't mean historic. Sometimes, it's a tiny anomaly hiding in plain sight and error, a quirk of production, a misstep that the U.S. Mint would rather you didn't know about. And the 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is one of the rarest, most coveted anomalies of the modern era. You may be asking yourself, how can a penny minted less than 50 years ago suddenly be worth hundreds of thousands or even millions if the market surges? The answer lies in the fascinating, almost conspiratorial story of U.S. coin production. You see, in 1977, every Lincoln cent should have carried a small D or S on the obverse, indicating that it was struck at the Denver or San Francisco Mint. But somehow, a handful of pennies escaped the minting process completely unmarked. These no-mint mark coins are exceptionally rare because they were never intended to exist. They were mistakes, flukes, anomalies, and in the rarefied world of coin collecting, mistakes can be worth a fortune now. Imagine the scene, a collector meticulously inspecting coins, flipping them under a magnifying glass, scanning for that elusive anomaly. The tension, the anticipation, the thrill of discovery, it's almost cinematic. And when that shiny, unmarked 1977 penny appears, it's pure, heart-stopping magic. Some collectors have described the feeling as akin to stumbling upon buried treasure. Except, this treasure could literally change your life. The market for these coins is fiercely competitive. Unlike more common collectibles, where prices fluctuate gradually. The 1977 no-mint mark penny has a track record that reads like a high-stakes thriller. In recent years, coins in top condition, perfectly preserved, untouched by circulation, have sold for staggering sums. Record shows sales reaching as high as $779,000. And experts speculate that rarer specimens, or those with flawless grading from the professional coin grading service, could fetch even more. Consider this: a coin you might casually find in a jar of loose change could, in theory, be worth nearly $1 million. Does your heart just skip a beat? It should. But here's the catch: finding one is no small feat. The 1977 no mint mark, Lincoln penny, is incredibly rare. Some estimates suggest that fewer than a few hundred may exist in private collections. That means even experienced collectors may go decades without seeing one. It's the ultimate needle in a haystack scenario. And yet, the very scarcity that makes these pennies nearly impossible to find is precisely what drives their astronomical value. Economics 101. Supply is tiny, demand is enormous. And collectors with deep pockets are more than willing to pay top dollar for a shot at owning a piece of history. Let's pause for a moment. Can you picture it? One penny, no different to the naked eye than the coins you use to buy a soda or a pack of gum. And yet, for the right collector, it's priceless. That's the paradox, the beauty and the thrill of numismatics. Ordinary becomes extraordinary. Common becomes legendary. A simple penny transforms into a life-altering asset. You might be wondering, why exactly is this penny so valuable? After all, it's not made of silver or gold. There's no historical event tied to its minting. What makes it priceless is rarity born of error. In coin collecting, anomalies are king. A missing mint mark signals a production mistake, one the U.S. Mint never intended. And because only a minuscule number of these coins exist, collectors treat them as holy grails. They're a reminder that sometimes the universe rewards those who are paying attention. Now, here's where it gets even more fascinating. Some of these no-mint mark pennies have been found in circulation, mixed in with regular coins. That means, theoretically, there could be a 1977 penny sitting in your pocket right now worth more than your car, more than a small house, more than most people make in a year. Could it be? Could you be holding a fortune without even realizing it? That's the irresistible allure of coin collecting, the possibility, however slim, that ordinary life holds extraordinary surprises. Of course, not every 1977 penny is a golden ticket. Condition is everything. Coins are graded on a meticulous scale. From poor to perfect mint state, the higher the grade, the more pristine the coin, the closer it is to minting perfection, and the higher its value. Many of the high-value sales, like the record-setting $779,000 coin, were coins graded at MS65 or higher, essentially flawless specimens. A penny that has been handled, circulated, or tarnished is unlikely to fetch anywhere near that amount. But even a moderately well-preserved example can sell for tens of thousands. And that's still life-changing money. The story of the 1977 no-mint mark, Lincoln penny, also highlights an important lesson about timing and knowledge. These coins only gained widespread attention relatively recently, as collectors and numismatic experts began cataloging rare modern errors. Before that, many were simply overlooked, lost in rolls of ordinary pennies. What does this teach us? Knowledge is power. In the world of collectibles, being in the know before the crowd arrives can turn small investments into massive windfalls. There's a sense of urgency, hear a whisper in the ear that says, "Pay attention." You never know what you might find. And let's not forget the psychological thrill. There's something undeniably intoxicating about chasing something so rare, so elusive. The tension of sorting through coins, the sudden thrill of spotting a small anomaly, the heart racing as you confirm what you've discovered. For collectors, it's not just about money, it's about the chase. The story, the legacy of owning something others only dream of. But here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. Some experts believe that the 1977 no mint mark Incan penny may not be the only modern penny capable of such astronomical value. Other error coins, subtle anomalies, and minting mistakes could be lurking unnoticed in circulation, waiting for the sharp-eyed collector to uncover them. Could the next life-changing coin be in your wallet? In your coin jar? In the loose change you've been ignoring for years? It's possible. It's thrilling. And it's a call to action. So, what does this mean for you? For anyone who has ever held a penny and thought, it's just a penny. It means opportunity. It means the chance to turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. It means that by paying attention, by learning, by inspecting, and by collecting, you could stumble upon a coin worth far more than its face value, worth enough to change your life. But it also means urgency. These coins are vanishingly rare, and the market is competitive. If you're going to participate, you need knowledge, diligence, and a willingness to act. Let's circle back to that initial image, a penny in your hand. Now, imagine the possibility. That small piece of copper could be the key to a fortune, a story that begins with curiosity and ends with amazement. The 1977 no mint mark Lincoln cent isn't just a coin. It's a symbol proof that extraordinary value can hide in plain sight. That fortunes can be found where you least expect them. And that paying attention to the little details can yield the biggest rewards. In the end. The story of the 1977 no mint mark Lincoln penny is a story of chance, discovery, and human fascination with rarity and value. It's a reminder that in the ordinary world around us, extraordinary opportunities exist, waiting for those who notice them. Whether you are a seasoned collector or a curious newcomer, the lesson is the same. Don't overlook the little things. Don't dismiss the ordinary. Sometimes, what seems small and insignificant can change everything. So, the next time you drop a penny into your hand, pause for a moment. Look closely. Inspect the mint mark. Check the date. Because one coin, one tiny anomaly, could be your ticket to a life you've only dreamed of. And if it's the elusive 1977 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, well, congratulations, you may be holding a fortune in your fingertips. The clock is ticking. The market is moving, And opportunities like this don't wait. The question isn't just whether you can find one, it's whether you will. Are you ready to look, to notice, to discover what others overlook? Because somewhere out there, in the ordinary and everyday, the extraordinary is waiting. And it could be as close as the pocket of your jeans. Now, before you start rummaging through your jar of pennies, consider this. The 1992D Lincoln cent isn't just rare because it's old or because it's a collectible. No, its rarity is shrouded in a unique story of minting errors, limited circulation, and sheer scarcity. It's the kind of coin that makes professional numismatists break into a sweat and ordinary people dream of instant wealth. So, what makes this penny so special? Let's dive in. The story begins in 1992 at the Denver Mint. Most coins produced there that year were standard, everyday pennies destined for the cash registers of America. But hidden within the millions that rolled off the presses, a handful of pennies bore a tiny secret, a distinctive D-mint mark, paired with anomalies that would make them virtually priceless to collectors. These weren't errors that were obvious at first glance. You wouldn't notice them in your pocket change or even with a casual glance. But experts and experienced coin hunters know that subtle differences in strike, composition, and minting anomalies can turn a simple penny into a treasure worth a small fortune. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1992D Lincoln cent is the dramatic contrast between its everyday appearance and its potential value. To the untrained eye, it's a regular penny. It carries Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile, the familiar date stamped clearly, and the mint mark that designates Denver. But for those who know what to look for, this coin can be a once-in-a-lifetime find. A 1992D penny in top condition, graded MS67 or higher, has been reported to sell for up to $774,000. Yes, that's nearly $750,000 for a coin that could still be sitting in a jar under your bed. But how is that possible? How can a single penny skyrocket from a fraction of a dollar to such an astronomical figure? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance. In numismatics, the value of a coin isn't just determined by its metal content or age, it's the story behind the coin. The number of surviving specimens, and the extreme demand among collectors willing to pay handsomely for the perfect example. And the 1992D Lincoln cent ticks every single box. Consider this. There are millions of pennies minted every year, yet only a tiny fraction of them survive in mint condition decades later. Most are spent, scratched, and circulated until they're barely recognizable. The few that escape this fate, the ones with flawless surfaces, perfectly struck details, and intact mint marks, become exceedingly rare. And when a coin like the 1992D Lincoln cent emerges from obscurity in such impeccable condition, it instantly captures the attention of collectors, dealers, and investors alike. Here's where it gets even more fascinating. Many of these coins have anomalies that make them even more desirable. Slight doubling of the date, off-center strikes, and variations in the die create a spectrum of error coins, each with its own unique appeal. These errors, when authenticated and graded by professional services, can multiply a penny's value exponentially. It's almost like nature's lottery, except in this case, the prize is tangible, collectible, and potentially life-changing. Now, imagine for a moment that you are the one to find such a penny. Maybe it's tucked in a roll of change from a recent trip to the grocery store. Maybe it's been sitting in your childhood piggy bank for decades, forgotten under a layer of dust. Could this ordinary coin be the key to a fortune that you never expected? Could it be the kind of windfall that turns a mundane life into a story worth telling? The suspense is almost unbearable, isn't it? But before you rush to inspect every coin you own, there's a crucial detail to understand. Condition is everything. Even the rarest 1990 2D pennies can plummet in value if they are worn, scratched, or corroded. Collectors are ruthless when it comes to grading. And a penny that looks exceptional to an untrained eye may still fall short of the standards that command top dollar. That's why professional authentication and grading services exist. Companies like PCGs and NGC specialize in examining coins with microscopes, checking for flaws, and assigning a grade that accurately reflects their condition. And that grade directly determines the market value. Here's a shocking fact. In 2019, a 1992D Lincoln sent in MS-67 condition sold at auction for over $700,000. That's right, someone held a tiny coin in their hand and walked away with a sum of money that could buy a luxury car, a down payment on a house, or even fund a small business. And it all started with a coin that, for most people, is just spare change. At this point, you might be wondering, is this just luck, or is there a strategy behind finding such a coin? The truth is a little of both. Luck plays a role. You have to stumble across the right coin, but knowledge dramatically increases your chances. Understanding mint marks, learning how to identify subtle anomalies, and recognizing the telltale signs of high-grade coins can turn an ordinary search into a deliberate, calculated hunt. And in a world where one small detail can mean the difference between a 1-cent coin and a $774,000 jackpot, knowledge isn't just Powerite's profit, but let's not sugarcoat it. The market for rare coins is competitive. Collectors around the world are constantly searching, buying, and selling, driven by the thrill of discovery and the potential for enormous financial gain. One small lapse in vigilance, one missed opportunity, and a coin that could have changed your life may slip into someone else's hands. There's urgency here, a very real sense of now or never. And yet, this is not just about money. There's something almost romantic about the pursuit of rare coins. Holding a 1992D Lincoln cent in your palm connects you to history. To the artisans at the Denver Mint who struck it, to the countless Americans who handled it over the years, and to the collectors who recognize its extraordinary value. It's a tangible link to the past, a story frozen in copper, waiting to be uncovered. And for those who succeed in finding such a coin, it's a story of triumph, foresight, and a touch of serendipity. But here's a twist you might not expect. Not every 1992 penny is valuable. Far from it. Millions were minted, and most are circulating everyday coins. It's only the rare, uncirculated specimens, especially those with anomalies or perfect grading, that command astronomical prices. That's why meticulous attention to detail is critical. You have to know what to look for, how to handle the coin without damaging it, and when to seek professional verification. One careless scratch, one fingerprint, and the value can drop from hundreds of thousands to mere cents. The stakes are high, the tension palpable, and the reward potentially life-altering. Now, imagine the scenario. You open a dusty jar of pennies from your grandparents' attic, and there it is. A 1992 Lincoln cent, gleaming as if it were just minted yesterday. Your heart races. Could this be the coin that transforms your financial destiny? Could you be on the brink of a discovery that thousands of collectors dream about, but only a few ever achieve? The excitement is electric, the possibilities endless. Before you rush to cash it in, remember this: preparation matters. Authenticate the coin, get it graded, and approach the market strategically. Rushing can lead to mistakes, and mistakes can be costly. But with patience, knowledge, and a touch of courage, you could find yourself at the center of a thrilling story where a simple penny becomes the protagonist in a tale of fortune, intrigue, and possibility. And here's the final revelation. The opportunity isn't limited to those who already know about rare coins. Every day, ordinary Americans come across pennies that hold hidden value. Some are sitting in drawers, jars, or old collections waiting to be discovered. Could one of those coins be a 1992 Lincoln cent in perfect condition? Could one small moment of curiosity, one careful inspection, lead to a life-changing revelation? The answer is yes, but only if you act. The line between ordinary and extraordinary is razor thin. The difference between missing out and striking gold could be as simple as picking up a coin and examining it closely. So, the next time you stumble across a dusty penny, don't toss it aside. Look closely. Study the details. The 1992 Lincoln cent is more than just a coin. It's a potential ticket to wealth, a historical artifact, and a testament to the thrill of discovery. In its coppery surface lies the promise of fortune, the whisper of history, and the excitement of a secret waiting to be revealed. Because in the end, the story of the 1992 Lincoln cent is more than just numismatics. It's a reminder that sometimes extraordinary things hide in the most ordinary places. And if you have the knowledge, the patience, and the curiosity to seek them out, you could be holding a miracle in your hand. A simple penny, yes, but one that could change everything. So, will you let it slip through your fingers? Or will you be the one to uncover a hidden treasure worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? The choice is yours, but remember, the clock is ticking, and fortune favors the bold. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and wondered if it might secretly be worth more than the entire contents of your wallet? Imagine this: a coin you might have ignored, maybe even stepped on in your rush to work, could actually be a golden ticket worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even $1 million. Sounds like a fantasy, right? But in the world of rare coins, fantasies sometimes become reality. And today, we're diving into one of the most astonishing examples of this phenomenon. The 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent coin. Now, before your mind starts racing, let's pause. The idea that a penny-s, a single, copper-plated piece of metal could command prices as high as $768,000 in the collector's market sounds absurd. Yet, it's not just rumor. There are reported sales, verified transactions that confirm these figures. But how does a coin, produced by the billions and dropped into circulation with the same ordinary face as the one sitting in your cup holder, become a priceless artifact? The story begins with a mistaker, rare, and expensive mistake. It was 1994, year of grunge, boy bands, and yes, Lincolns. The U.S. Mint was churning out coins by the billions. The hum of presses echoing across facilities in Denver, Philadelphia, and San Francisco. Each Lincoln penny was stamped with its mint mark, a small letter designating its birthplace, a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco. But in the chaos of mass production, errors can slip through. And sometimes, those errors are exactly what collectors dream about. The 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is one of those errors. Unlike its siblings, it bears no letter. None at all. At first glance, you might dismiss it as a regular penny. It's just a penny, you might think. But here's the catch. Every 1994 penny was supposed to have a mint mark. That tiny omission, that seemingly insignificant absence is what makes this coin a treasure beyond measure. And it doesn't stop there. This is no ordinary error coin that you might stumble across once in a blue moon. This is arguably one of the rarest and most sought-after coins in modern U.S. minting history. Think about that. While most coin collectors chase coins that are decades, sometimes centuries old, the 1994 no-mint Mark penny is contemporary. It's recent, tangible, almost within reach for anyone who knows where to look. But why is it worth so much? Why are collectors willing to pay hundreds of thousands, even approaching the $1 million mark, for a single copper disc? The answer lies in scarcity and authenticity. There are only a handful of these pennies known to exist, and each one is a unique fingerprint of history. The U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies in 1994, but somehow only a minuscule fraction slipped through without that critical mark. In the collector's world, scarcity drives value, and rarity, combined with near-perfect preservation, can create astronomical prices. Consider this. Coin in circulated condition might fetch thousands of dollars, but a coin in flawless, top-grade condition, the kind you'd expect to see under a museum spotlight, can sell for eye-watering amounts. In fact, market reports indicate that a pristine 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent can reach up to $768,000. Yes, you heard that right. For a coin you could have held in your pocket, spent on a cup of coffee, or found under the couch cushions. Someone was willing to pay nearly $750,000. Let that sink in for a moment. Imagine the excitement, the disbelief, sheer thrill of holding something ordinary that suddenly transforms into a fortune. It's the stuff of dreams or nightmares if you accidentally spent it on lunch. And yet, most people will never know the fortune hiding in their loose change. Are you going to be one of them? Or are you ready to uncover the secret hiding in plain sight? Here's where the story gets even more fascinating. Collectors don't just look for the coin, they scrutinize it. They examine the weight, the luster, the precise details of Abraham Lincoln's profile, and the absence of the mint mark. Every minute imperfection is documented, every anomaly logged. This isn't a casual hobby. This is treasure hunting at its most exacting. And the thrill of the hunt, the adrenaline of discovery, is what makes these coins so intoxicating. But there's more. The 1994 no mint mark penny isn't just rare, it's almost mythical. Many collectors spend years trying to track one down. Auctions, private sales, and rare coin shows become arenas of strategy, negotiation, and, occasionally, fierce competition. It's not just about the money. It's about being the one who possesses a piece of history that most people never even knew existed. Can you feel the tension? The sense that, somewhere, maybe even in your own home, a fortune is sitting quietly, waiting to be discovered. Let's pause for a moment to talk about authenticity. With such high stakes, the market is full of counterfeits, clever reproductions, and doctored coins. This is where expert grading becomes essential. Top-tier collectors rely on professional third-party graders who can verify a coin's legitimacy, down to the smallest microscopic detail. And when a 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln cent passes this rigorous inspection, it becomes not just a coin, but a certified masterpiece, demanding the kind of prices that can change lives overnight. Now, imagine you're sitting at home, leafing through your coin jar. Could that shiny penny at the bottom be the one? Could it be worth more than your car, your savings, or even a mortgage payment? It's a tantalizing thought, isn't it? And it's not entirely impossible. Stories abound of ordinary people stumbling across these coins by sheer luck, their lives transformed in an instant. But there's also a cautionary tale here, missing the signs, overlooking the details, or failing to get a coin properly authenticated could mean leaving a fortune on the table. So, how can you spot one? How do you separate the ordinary from the extraordinary? Look closely. Check for the absence of a mint mark. Study the coin's details. Consult guides, forums, and grading experts. Remember, this is not a garage sale find kind of coin. Precision, knowledge, and patience are your allies here. And every step you take increases your chances of discovering a coin that could be worth far more than its face. Value a coin that could redefine your financial future. And here's a thought that might just send a shiver down your spine. Millions of people pass these coins every day, completely unaware of the hidden fortunes slipping through their fingers. What if you could be the one who stops, examines, and discovers the treasure that others overlook? What if the ordinary copper penny in your pocket turns out to be a rare no-mint mark 1994 Lincoln cent. The implications are staggering. Let's fast forward to the climactic revelation. Picture an auction room, the gavel poised, the crowd holding its breath. A pristine 1994 no-mint mark penny goes under the hammer. $500,000, and then the final bid, $768,000. The room erupts. One coin, one small, unassuming penny, has just changed hands for nearly $750,000. For one lucky collector, this is not just a coin. It's a life-altering moment, a testament to the power of rarity, patience, and knowledge. So, what can you take away from this story? First, never underestimate the value of what seems ordinary. In the world of rare coins, the smallest details carry the greatest weight. Second, educate yourself. Study the market and consult experts. And third, act with urgency. Opportunities to discover a 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln cent are vanishingly rare. And when one appears, hesitation can cost more than just a lost chance. It can cost a fortune. In the end, this isn't just a story about a coin. It's a story about discovery, about luck meeting preparation, about the thrill of uncovering hidden value in the most unexpected places. The 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is more than copper and zinc. It's a symbol of opportunity, a reminder that extraordinary wealth can sometimes be hiding in plain sight, waiting for those bold enough to look, sharp enough to notice, and patient enough to act. So, the next time you pick up a penny, remember this: history, rarity, and fortune can all be hiding in the palm of your hand. Will you leave it there, unexamined, or will you take the chance that this tiny coin might just be your ticket to a life you never imagined? The clock is ticking, the coins are circulating, and the next 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln cent might already be closer than you think. Imagine, for just a moment, that the answer to your financial worries, the solution to your mounting bills, or even the key to early retirement isn't locked away in some Wall Street investment, but hiding in the change jar on your kitchen counter. Picture this. You reach in, pull out an ordinary brown penny, and discover it could be worth more than a brand new luxury car, more than a dream house. In fact, in rare cases, up to nearly $1 million. Sounds like a fantasy, doesn't it? But it's not. This is the true story of the elusive 1975 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that has stunned collectors, baffled experts, and turned everyday people into overnight millionaires. Now, let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked at your pennies? Most of us dismiss them. We toss them into jars, into drawers, or leave them lying in our cars like worthless scraps of metal. But history has shown us time and time again that hidden treasures don't always shine. Sometimes they disguise themselves as the most ordinary objects, waiting patiently for someone who dares to look closer. And the 1975 no-mint mark penny is exactly that kind of treasure. To understand why this unassuming coin has become the subject of obsession, we need to dive back into the mid-1970s, a turbulent time in America. The Vietnam War had ended, inflation was raging, and the country was transitioning into a new era. Pennies, of all things, were changing too. The U.S. Mint was producing them by the billions, each one stamped with its location of origin, a little D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no mark at all if it came from Philadelphia, at least. That was the rule of thumb, but here's where the mystery begins. Most 1975 pennies you'll find carry absolutely no mint mark because they were struck in Philadelphia, which at that time didn't use a mint mark. So, you might be thinking, what's the big deal? Aren't all 1975 pennies without a mint mark? That's where the plot thickens. While the vast majority are worth face value, a tiny fraction due to errors, rarity, and exceptional condition have become some of the most sought-after coins in modern history. And the kicker? One pristine example, carefully graded and preserved, shocked the market with a reported sale that soared to an eye-watering $969,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. Nearly $1 million. For a penny? Suddenly, this humble copper coin transformed into the stuff of legend. So what makes a simple penny worth a fortune? It comes down to three things: condition, error, and rarity. Let's start with condition. Collectors use a system called grading, which ranges from poor, almost unrecognizable coins to the Holy Grail, mint state, with blazing original luster, untouched by time or human hands. A 1975 penny in average circulation might buy you nothing more than a gumball. But in top condition, say mint state 67 or higher, it can leap in value from a few dollars into the thousands. And when you cross into those almost impossible grades, the market goes wild. But condition alone doesn't explain the six-figure price tags. The real drama comes from errors. Mint errors are like birthmarks of history, freak accidents that slip past inspectors. Double strikes, off-center impressions, or planchettes made of the wrong metal. These anomalies turn a common coin into a prize. And some of the rarest 1975 pennies are believed to have been struck on leftover planchettes intended for foreign coins. A twist of fate that makes them extremely desirable to collectors. Imagine stumbling across one of these rarities in your old coffee can. Would you even recognize it? Or would you let it slip back into circulation, unknowingly passing up a life-changing windfall? That thought alone is enough to make you want to dump out every penny you own and start inspecting them under a magnifying glass. And here's the truth that most people don't realize. Treasures like this don't just live in museums or auction houses. They're still out there, hidden in plain sight. Every year, new discoveries emerge from pocket change, estate sales, and dusty boxes forgotten in attics. And yet, millions of Americans will never notice them because they never take the time to look. Let's pause here and ask ourselves, how many fortunes have been lost in coin jars, in drawers, or worse, tossed into Coinstar machines without a second glance? It's enough to make your stomach turn. The tragedy of unawareness is very real, and it fuels the urgency of this story. Now, before you get too excited and start tearing through your collection, here's another twist. Not every shiny 1975 penny will make you rich. In fact, the vast majority won't. And that's the danger, confusing the ordinary with the extraordinary. That's why knowledge is everything. Because if you can tell the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth 1 million, you're holding the keys to financial transformation. This is where the collector's market gets fascinating. Unlike stocks or bonds, coin values are shaped by passion, history, and scarcity. It's not just about the metal. It's about the story, the anomaly, the chance to own something that almost nobody else on Earth possesses. When two collectors both want the same rarity, bidding wars erupt and the prices climb into the stratosphere. That's exactly what happened with the most valuable 1975 no-mint mark pennies. Picture the auction room. Serious collectors, their eyes locked, each one determined to walk away with the prize. The numbers keep climbing, 100,000, 200, 500,000. And just when you think it can't go higher, the gavel comes down at nearly $1 million. A single cent transformed into generational wealth. Now ask yourself, could you be holding one of these legendary coins right now without even knowing it? Could your casual handful of change be a ticket to freedom? Think about it. The people who struck it rich weren't necessarily collectors. Some were just ordinary individuals who stumbled upon a coin that the world had forgotten, and if you think it's too late, that all the rare coins have already been found, think again. Just in the last decade, multiple record-setting coins have surfaced in the most unlikely places: pawn shops, flea markets, even garage sales. The truth is, opportunity doesn't vanish. It waits for the observant. So here's the million-dollar question. How do you know if your 1975 penny is the right one? The first step is careful examination. Look for luster, for sharp detail, for absence of scratches or wear. Check for errors, doubling on the date or lettering, off-center strikes, unusual coloration. And most importantly, if you suspect you have something extraordinary, get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, because without authentication, your coin is just a rumor. With it, it could be a legend now. Let me break the tension with a thought. Isn't it funny how we'll spend hours scrolling through social media, but hesitate to spend 15 minutes looking at coins that could pay off our mortgage? Strange priorities, don't you think? Still, let's not sugarcoat it. The path to finding a jackpot coin isn't guaranteed. It requires patience, diligence, and sometimes a bit of luck. But here's the catch. Those who never bother to look have a 0% chance of discovering it. And those who do, even if they don't find the million-dollar penny, they often stumble across other hidden gems worth hundreds or even thousands. That's the beauty of this world. It rewards curiosity as we reach the final stretch of this story. Let me paint you a picture. Somewhere out there, right now, someone is about to hand over change at a gas station, completely unaware that the penny sliding across the counter could have bought them a car, a home, even a lifetime of security. Another person, maybe you, might be sitting on a jar full of pennies, casually dismissing them as clutter. And yet, within that jar, there could be a treasure that rewrites your destiny. The story of the 1975 no mint mark. Lincoln's cent isn't just about coins. It's about awareness. It's about opportunity hiding in the mundane. It's a reminder that value often lives where we least expect it. And it's a warning if you fail to look closely. You might let fortune slip right through your fingers. So tonight, after this video ends, I challenge you, go find that jar. Open that drawer and look again. Your fortune may not come from Wall Street, from Silicon Valley, or from a lottery ticket. It may come from the smallest, most overlooked piece of change in your pocket. And if you discover that shining copper coin, the one that collectors whisper about, the one that once sold for nearly $1 million, remember this moment. Because your life will never be the same again. The $1 million penny isn't a myth. It's real. It's out there. The only question is, will you be the one to find it? In 1981, millions of pennies rolled off the presses of the U.S. Mint, copper discs stamped with Lincoln's familiar profile. Coins so ordinary that most people never gave them a second glance. But hidden among those countless cents is a mystery that has haunted collectors, stunned experts, and left some lucky finders holding what could only be described as a modern-day lottery ticket. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out what looks like a dull penny, and realizing it could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. In some cases, nearly $1 million. Sounds impossible. Then you haven't heard the story of the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln. Cent. What makes a simple penny command the kind of price tag usually reserved for luxury cars or even small homes? It all comes down to a small detail most people ignore: the mint mark. Those tiny letters under the date D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and nothing at all for Philadelphia carry secrets that can turn an everyday coin into a treasure. And in 1981, a peculiar error slipped through the cracks, producing a handful of pennies that lacked the mint mark when they should have had one. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let me ask you this. How many pennies have passed through your hands in your lifetime? Thousands. Tens of thousands. Perhaps hundreds of thousands. How many of them did you actually check before tossing them into a jar or handing them off as change? That one moment of carelessness could mean the difference between pocket change and generational wealth. Now, here's where things get fascinating. The Philadelphia Mint traditionally produced coins without a mint mark. So at first glance, a penny with no letter under the date doesn't seem special. But in 1981, the minting process was changing. Proof coins, struck in San Francisco, were supposed to carry the S mark. Yet due to a die error, a very small number slipped out into the world without it. The result? A rare 1981 Lincoln cent proof coin missing its mint mark. A mistake so tiny and so unlikely that the few surviving examples became the stuff of legend. And legends, as you know, drive prices when one of these elusive coins surfaced at auction. Collectors went into a frenzy. Bidding escalated, dollar signs multiplied, and the final hammer price shocked even seasoned numismatists. Reported sales have reached as high as $965,000 for pristine specimens. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny one sent fetching nearly $1 million. Now pause for a second. What would you do if you had one? Pay off the mortgage, retire early, or maybe frame it on the wall as a reminder that sometimes the smallest details can change your entire life. But before you start rifling through your piggy bank, let's be clear. Not every 1981 penny is valuable. In fact, almost all of them aren't. The vast majority are worth exactly 1 cent. The key is in the proof coins, the specially made coins with mirror-like surfaces, originally sold in sets to collectors. If one of those proof coins is missing its mint mark, you've struck gold or copper, to be precise. And here's where the story twists again. Some experts argue that there are fewer than a dozen authentic 1981 no mint mark proofs known today. A dozen out of millions. Think about those odds. It's like finding a needle not in a haystack, but in a field of haystacks stretching for miles. Yet every time one surfaces, it rewrites the market. The danger, of course, is counterfeits. For every genuine rarity, there are plenty of clever fakes. Some people go so far as to file off mint marks, hoping to trick buyers. But professional graders and auction houses are trained to spot these alterations. So if you think you've stumbled upon one of these mysterious pennies, the first step is always authentication. Never assume. Never sell yourself short. Now let me tell you why this coin matters beyond its price tag. It's a reminder of how easily we overlook value. A penny is the lowest denomination of U.S. currency, often ignored, often discarded. Kids leave them on sidewalks. Cashiers sweep them off counters. And yet, the right penny could rival the value of an entire college education. Isn't that ironic? We step over pennies every day, while some people are becoming millionaires because they paid attention. This is where the urgency comes in. Time is not your friend. Rare coins don't wait. As collectors scoop them up and museums lock them away, the chances of one drifting into circulation shrink by the day. Every coin sitting in a proof set, hidden in an attic or safety deposit box, could be the missing link in your financial story. The only question is, will you check before someone else does? Let's put this into perspective. In 2003, an example of the 1981 no mint mark cent sold for tens of thousands. A decade later, the number had ballooned into the hundreds of thousands. And by the 2020s, reports surfaced of sales approaching nearly $1 million. Do you see the pattern? As time passes, rarity compounds, demand grows, and prices climb. This isn't just a coin. It's an appreciating asset, one that makes Wall Street look tame by comparison. And yet, many Americans are unknowingly sitting on treasure. Proof sets from the early 1980s were popular gifts. They were sold in velvet cases, tucked into dresser drawers, forgotten for decades. Your parents, your grandparents, maybe even you could have one. That dusty old box in the closet might be holding the ticket to financial freedom. Will you bother to look? Here's another cliffhanger. Most collectors focus on the famous 1943 copper penny, the holy grail that headlines articles and TV specials. But the 1981 no mint mark proof cent has quietly built its own mythology. Some insiders believe it will eventually surpass the 1943 cent in prestige simply because so few exist. The rarity is staggering. And unlike ancient coins that feel distant, this one is modern, relatable, accessible. You don't need to dig through archaeological ruins. You just need to check your change or your family's keepsakes. So, what happens if you find one? The smart move is to send it immediately to a professional grading service like PCGs or NGC. They'll authenticate, grade, and encapsulate it, turning your penny into a certified investment. From their auction houses, such as Heritage or Stacks, Bowers can place it before wealthy collectors eager to outbid each other. Imagine watching the price climb, digits stacking up. You realize this little copper coin is about to change your life. But let's not sugarcoat it. Finding one is rare. The odds are against you. And that's exactly why it's so thrilling. Every great discovery comes with risk, with uncertainty, with long odds. Think of the gold rush, or oil drilling, or lottery jackpots. The thrill isn't just in the win, it's in the chase. And hunting coins like the 1981 no mint mark cent is no different. Here's where the humor kicks in. Imagine standing at the grocery store, paying for milk, and realizing you just handed the cashier a $1 million penny. How would you explain that to your spouse later? Honey, you'll never believe what I accidentally tipped the cashier with today. That's the nightmare scenario, and the reason you should never dismiss those worthless coins in your possession. So, what's the takeaway? The story of the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln cent is bigger than numismatics. It's about perspective. It's about recognizing that hidden within the ordinary, the overlooked and the undervalued, there may be extraordinary wealth. And it's about acting before opportunity passes you by. Right now, collectors are paying record sums. Right now, markets are hungry for the next high-grade example. And right now, somewhere in America, a forgotten proof set may be sitting quietly in a drawer, waiting to be opened. Maybe it's in your house. Maybe it's in your parents' attic. Maybe it's in the estate sale down the street. The question is, will you look before someone else does? Or will you be the one who reads about the next $1 million penny and wonders what might have been? This is not just about coins. It's about possibility. It's about how a single moment of awareness can rewrite your financial story. Don't let the opportunity slip by unnoticed. The smallest coin in your hand might just carry the biggest value of your lifetime. So, tonight, when the house quiets down, grab that old box of coins, dusts off the proof sets. Pull out the pennies from 1981. Examine them closely. Because in the silence of your own living room, under the light of a simple lamp, you may discover a treasure that could change everything. And if you do find it, if you are the lucky one who uncovers a 1981 no mint mark Lincoln century, remember this moment. because you'll have joined a story that few ever will. A story where the most ordinary object became extraordinary wealth. Check your pennies. Because somewhere out there, a fortune is hiding in plain sight. You're counting out spare change for a morning coffee, and you spot a 1994 penny. It feels insignificant until you notice something missing. There's no mint mark beneath the date. Suddenly, you're holding a coin that could be worth more than your house. More than your retirement account. Perhaps even more than your entire lifetime of paychecks. Yes, a single penny worth up to $958,000 in pristine condition. How is that possible? Why would collectors pay such unimaginable sums for what seems like an everyday coin? That's where our story begins. To understand this rare treasure, we first need to look at what a mint mark is and why it matters. Every coin struck by the United States Mint carries a small letter that reveals where it was made. D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and P for Philadelphia for many years. Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark at all. By 1994, however, almost all Lincoln cents bore either a D or no mark at all, depending on the minting facility. But here's where things get interesting. Errors, misprints, and anomalies slip through even the most controlled systems. When an error happens on something as common as a penny, that mistake suddenly becomes a piece of history and object that collectors will fight tooth and nail to own. The 1994 no mint mark penny is one of those anomalies. Some were struck without the expected identifying letter, and those survivors became legends in the coin collecting community. Because they were so rare, their value skyrocketed with each sale, and stories began to spread of everyday people stumbling upon one in change and suddenly facing a life-altering decision. Keep it as a curiosity, or cash it in for an extraordinary payday. But here's where suspense creeps in. Not every 1994 penny without a mint mark is valuable. In fact, most are worth almost nothing. That's the trap. That's the razor-thin line between a fortune and a worthless trinket. The real gems are those that are uncirculated, flawless, shimmering in the highest grades of condition. And collectors, serious, deep-pocketed collectors, are willing to pay for perfection. This is where we get reports of market sales climbing into six figures, with the most pristine examples rumored to have fetched $958,000. Think about that for a moment. A penny that could buy you a lake house, a luxury car, and still leave change for a vacation around the world. So how do you know if your penny is the jackpot? The secret lies in the details. The sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, the clean edges, the absence of scratches or wear, and of course, that missing mint mark. To the untrained eye, it's just a penny. To an expert grader, it's a potential masterpiece. This is why professional grading services exist. Because a single upgrade in grade from almost perfect to absolutely perfect can mean the difference between a few $1,000s and nearly $1 million. It's not just about the coin, it's about the story it tells and the rarity it embodies. And this is where the fear comes in. How many of these coins have slipped through unnoticed? How many have been spent at gas stations, lost in laundromats, or thrown into jars that were later taken to the bank? How many life-changing pennies have already vanished into circulation forever? It's a chilling thought. Isn't it that you might already have had one in your hands and let it go without knowing? Collectors know this fear. That's why they search obsessively, scouring rolls of coins, inspecting pocket change under magnifying glasses, and hunting at estate sales. It's a modern treasure hunt, and the stakes are enormous. Every day, Americans unknowingly handle pennies that could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The 1994 No Mint Mark cent is proof of that. But let's be honest for a moment. Doesn't this sound almost too good to be true? A penny worth nearly $1 million. And yet, history proves it over and over again. Rare coins have a track record of shocking sales prices. Remember the 1943 copper penny that sold for over $1 million? Or the 1913 Liberty Head nickel that fetched millions at auction? These aren't fairy tales, they're documented events. Reminders that extraordinary value can hide in plain sight. So why not the 1994 No Mint Mark Lincoln cent? Now, let me throw you a curveball. What if I told you that sometimes collectors actually prefer coins with flaws? That a mistake, a missing detail, a misprint can turn an otherwise common coin into a holy grail. That's the paradox of numismatics. The very thing the mint tries to avoid, perfection, is exactly what drives collectors into bidding wars. The 1994 No Mint Mark penny sits at the heart of that paradox. A tiny error that transforms into a monumental treasure. Picture the auctions, the hushed rooms, the raised paddles, the rapid-fire bids climbing higher and higher. Imagine the adrenaline of watching your 1-cent piece climb to tens of thousands of dollars, then hundreds of thousands, then beyond. That's the reality for those lucky enough to uncover one of these rare gems. And let's not forget the ripple effect. News of such sales spreads like wildfire, igniting fresh waves of treasure hunters, sending everyday people to their change jars, magnifiers in hand, hope in their hearts. But there's a darker side too. For every person who finds a genuine rarity, there are countless others who chase illusions, who mistake a common coin for a treasure, who fall victim to counterfeiters trying to profit from desperation. This is why knowledge is power. If you truly want to turn your pocket change into wealth, you must learn the secrets of identification, grading, and authentication. Otherwise, you risk letting fear or greed lead you astray. So what can you do today, right now, to give yourself the best chance? Start by checking your change. Pay attention to the pennies, especially those from 1994. Look closely under the date. Is there a mint mark? If not, set it aside. Inspect the conditioner, their scratches, wear, dull surfaces. Or does it look sharp and flawless, almost as if it just left the mint? If you think you have something special, don't rush to sell it at a pawn shop or to the first buyer who comes along. Instead, consider having it graded by a professional service. A small investment in authentication could multiply your returns by staggering amounts. And here's a little humor to keep you sharp. If your spouse catches you staring at pennies under a lamp with a magnifying glass at midnight, just remind them you're not losing your mind. You might just be finding your fortune. After all, who wouldn't sacrifice a little sleep for the chance at nearly $1 million? Let's come full circle now. We started with the image of an ordinary penny, overlooked and forgotten. We've uncovered the mystery of the missing mint mark, the shocking sales that reached as high as $958,000, the fear of lost opportunities, and the thrill of modern treasure hunting. And we've reminded ourselves that value often hides where we least expect it. So the next time you dismiss a penny as worthless, ask yourself, what if this is the one? What if this tiny piece of copper and zinc is your key to freedom, to financial security, to a story you'll tell for the rest of your life? The truth is, these coins are out there. Some are waiting in bankrolls, some in forgotten jars, some perhaps already in your possession. The only question is, will you be the one who finds it, or will you let it slip away? Because in the world of rare coins, the smallest details create the biggest fortunes. And that 1994 no mint mark Lincoln cent. It just might be the most powerful penny you'll ever hold in your hands. Check your change. Look twice. Fortune, as always, favors the prepared. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? A penny that could make you a millionaire. And yet, hidden in plain sight, in purses, change drawers, and old coffee cans across America, are coins so rare that when collectors discover them, they sell for staggering sums. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, with one reported market sale reaching as high as $954,000. That's nearly $1 million. For 1 cent. Before you laugh it off, consider this. Every coin you've ever spent or pocketed tells a story. And the story of the 2002 no mint mark Lincoln penny is one of mystery, error, and explosive value. Today, I'm going to guide you through that story, where this tiny copper-coated coin came from, why it can be worth millions, and most importantly, how you might already have one in your possession without even realizing it. Now, let's set the stage. The year is 2002. The United States Mint is producing billions of Lincoln cents, the same familiar coin that has been in circulation since 1909. Most of them are standard Philadelphia mint coins without a mint mark, Denver coins with a D, San Francisco proofs with an S, ordinary, everyday pennies. But tucked within this ocean of copper-plated zinc are a handful of anomalies. Pennies that somehow slipped through the cracks of perfection. Born with subtle differences, so rare that collectors are willing to fight tooth and nail and pay nearly unimaginable sums to own them. Here's where it gets fascinating. You see, not every no mint mark coin is the same. Most pennies struck in Philadelphia don't carry a mint mark, and that's normal. But in certain years, like 2002, production quirks, minting errors, and die variations created coins that stood out from the rest. Some of these anomalies are so dramatic, so unexpected, that they've become the holy grail of modern coin collecting. And it's these pennies, these deceptively ordinary-looking cents, that are now being sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. Think about it. How many pennies have passed through your hands over the years? Hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions. How many of those did you ever bother to look at closely? Now imagine if just one of those, one coin you tossed into a change jar, could have been worth more than your entire car. That's the kind of reality we're talking about here. The 2002 no mint mark Lincoln cent has stunned experts and collectors alike, with top condition examples selling for close to $1 million. But why? What makes one penny worth a fortune while the rest are barely worth the metal they're made of? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and demand. First, rarity. Errors and unusual variations in minting are the fuel of the coin collecting world. When the U.S. Mint accidentally strikes a coin with a double die, or misaligns the planchette, or produces a run with a slightly different composition, that small mistake instantly creates something unique. And when billions of ordinary coins exist, uniqueness is everything. Second, condition. Collectors crave perfection. A penny that has been jingling around in pockets for years is scratched, dull, and worn. But a 2002 no mint mark penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, that's like discovering a diamond in a pile of pebbles. Top-grade examples, those flawless coins that seem almost frozen in time, are the ones commanding eye-watering prices. And third, demand. The Lincoln cent is not just any coin. It's an icon of American currency with over a century of history. Collectors worldwide are obsessed with it, which means that when a rare variation surfaces, the bidding wars go wild. That's how you get sales of $954,000 for a single 1-cent piece. Now let's pause for a moment. Imagine checking your old penny jar after this video. Imagine spotting that subtle difference, the missing detail, the unusual strike that tells you you're holding a jackpot coin. How would that feel? Relief, excitement, maybe even disbelief, as you realize that the penny you once ignored could pay off your mortgage, wipe out your debts, and fund the retirement of your dreams. It's almost poetic, the coin that nobody values turning out to be the one that changes your life. Of course, not every 2002 penny is going to be a hidden treasure. Most are just worth face value. But here's where the suspense kicks in. You'll never know until you look. And the people who dismiss it, who never take the time to check their change, are the ones who end up missing out. Think about how many stories you've heard of people unknowingly tossing away fortunes. The rare baseball card in a shoebox, the painting gathering dust in a garage, a penny worth nearly $1 million sitting unnoticed in a piggy bank. So what exactly should you be looking for? Here's where the treasure hunt becomes very real. On a 2002 no mint mark Lincoln cent, you want to look at the details of the date, the lettering, and Lincoln's profile. Are there doubling effects on the numbers or letters? Is there a misaligned strike? Is the coin unusually shiny, suggesting a higher grade strike? Even the tiniest irregularity could be the difference between pocket change and a small fortune. And here's a secret. Many of the most valuable era coins look perfectly normal to the untrained eye. That's why they're so dangerous to overlook. Collectors study these coins under magnification, spotting microscopic differences that can elevate the value from a cent to hundreds of thousands of dollars. The difference between nothing and everything might be as small as a faint doubling on Lincoln's eye, or an extra thickness in the lettering of Liberty. Scary thought, isn't it? How many valuable pennies have already slipped through your fingers, spent without a second glance, lost forever in the endless churn of commerce? But let's bring this back to inspiration, because here's the beauty of it. The hunt is still ongoing. These rare pennies are still out there. They weren't all discovered in 2002. They're sitting right now in drawers, boxes, jars, and pockets across America. And one of them might be waiting for you. Picture it. You, sitting at the kitchen table with a magnifying glass, sorting through pennies while your family laughs it off. And then you see it, the irregularity, the missing mint mark in the right context, the flawless condition. At first, you're not sure. Your heart starts to pound. You check again and again. Could it be? And then, after verification, you realize you're holding a coin worth more than most people make in decades. That moment, that rush, is why collectors keep searching. And it's why you should never underestimate the power of a single penny. And let's not forget the urgency here. Coins in pristine condition don't last forever. As time goes on, more and more of these rare 2002 pennies get damaged, lost, or overlooked, which means the supply dwindles and the prices climb even higher. Collectors know this. Investors know this, which is why auctions for top-condition 2002 no-mint mark Lincoln cents are exploding with activity. The window of opportunity isn't permanent, and waiting too long could mean watching others cash in while you wonder what might have been. So the question is simple. Will you check your change? Will you take the time to search through the pennies you've ignored your whole life? Or will you let the chance of a lifetime slip away? Because here's the truth. Wealth doesn't always come from Wall Street. Sometimes it comes from the loose change rattling in your pocket. Sometimes it comes from a penny so ordinary that everyone else walks past it until one person has the curiosity to look closer. And that person could be you. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, when you pass by that dusty jar of coins, when you're tempted to roll them up for the bank without a second thought, stop. Look closely. Examine every 2002 penny, because history has already proven it. A single one can be worth up to $954,000, and who knows? The one that tips the scale into millions could still be out there, waiting to be found. And maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for you. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and thought, this little copper-colored coin could change my life? Sounds impossible, right? After all, it's just a cent. It won't even buy you a piece of gum anymore. But here's the shocking truth. One of the most ordinary-looking pennies ever made in the United States could secretly be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some reports even suggest values creeping into the millions. And it comes from a year you'd never expect, 2006. Imagine digging through your change jar, pulling out a Lincoln cent from 2006, and realizing it doesn't have the tiny mint mark that every coin from that year should carry. That tiny missing letter could mean the difference between 1 cent and a financial windfall that could pay off your mortgage, your car, maybe even set up a retirement fund. The kind of discovery that turns ordinary people into overnight millionaires. But how can something so small carry such enormous value? To understand that, we need to peel back the layers of history, of minting practices, and of the strange accidents that create legends in the world of coin collecting. And trust me, once you hear the story of the 2006 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, you may never look at loose change the same way again. Let's start with the basics. In 2006, the United States Mint struck billions of Lincoln cents. That's right, billions with a B. They were produced in 3 main locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint leaves its mark. A tiny P for Philadelphia, a D for Denver, and 4 proof coins from San Francisco, an S. This mint mark is the fingerprint of origin. And since the late 20th century, every Lincoln cent should have one. So if you find a 2006 penny without a mint mark, well, that shouldn't exist. And yet, a handful of examples have surfaced. To collectors, they are like mythic creatures whispered about, pursued relentlessly, fought over at auction. Their rarity is so extreme that the moment one is authenticated, it enters a category of value that most people associate not with pennies, but with diamonds, gold bars, or famous works of art. Now here's where things get thrilling. In recent years, certain specimens of the 2006 no-mint mark Lincoln cent have been reported selling for astonishing sums. One coin in near-perfect condition is said to have fetched as much as $946,000. Let that sink in. A coin designed to be worth 1 cent, selling for nearly $1 million. How many of those do you think are quietly sitting in dresser drawers, in piggy banks, or in coffee cans across America? But before you run to your coin jar, let me ask you something. How often do we overlook treasures hiding in plain sight? We walk past opportunities every day because we assume the ordinary is just ordinary. That's what makes stories like this so electrifying. They challenge us to see differently, to look more closely, to question what we thought we knew. Of course, you might be wondering, why would a 2006 penny ever be missing its mint mark? The answer lies in the complex, sometimes messy process of minting billions of coins. Mistakes happen. Dies are swapped, designs are altered, and sometimes a tiny detail gets lost in the shuffle. These errors slip through the cracks and into circulation. And when they do, they become accidental masterpieces. Collectors crave them because they embody chance itself. You can't order one. You can't manufacture one. You can only stumble upon it or outbid everyone else who wants it. And the smaller the error, the rarer the survival, the higher the price climbs take about it. The Mona Lisa isn't priceless because it's a painting. It's priceless because it's unique. The same principle applies to coins. Billions of ordinary 2006 cents were struck, but the tiny fraction without a mint mark. Those are the Mona Lisas of modern pocket change. Now, here's where the story takes a turn. Not every no-mint mark penny from 2006 is authentic. There are counterfeits out there, coins tampered with by people who know just how much excitement this error creates. That's where fear creeps in, the fear of being fooled. Imagine the heartbreak of thinking you've struck gold, only to find you're holding a worthless fake. It happens. That's why serious collectors insist on certification from trusted grading companies. Like PCGs or NGC, they examine every curve, every surface, every microscopic detail to confirm whether the missing mint mark is genuine or artificially created. And if you're lucky enough to hold the real deal, certification doesn't just protect you, it elevates your coin's value exponentially. A raw, uncertified example might sell for hundreds. But in a top-graded slabbed holder, that same coin can leap into the stratosphere, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even close to that $1 million mark. So what does this mean for you? It means that the next time you get change at the grocery store, the next time you dump out that jar of coins sitting in your garage, you could be staring at a life-changing discovery without realizing it. Wouldn't it be worth just a few minutes of careful inspection to find out? Let's paint a picture. Imagine you're sitting at your kitchen table, sorting through a pile of pennies. You notice one from 2006. You turn it over, squinting at the spot where the mint mark should be. But it's blank. Your heart skips. You check again. Still blank. Suddenly, your palms sweat. You grab a magnifying glass and the suspense builds. Could it be? Could you be holding one of the rarest coins of modern America? That's the thrill. That's the rush collectors live for. And that's why this tiny error coin has captivated the attention of numismatists and everyday Americans alike. But here's the cliffhanger and the urgency. The window of opportunity won't last forever. Coins wear down with use. Surviving examples in top condition will only grow scarcer as time passes. That means prices could climb even higher, while the odds of stumbling across a pristine specimen shrink with every year. Waiting could mean the difference between a six-figure payday and a missed chance. And here's a little twist that might surprise you. Sometimes the rarest coins aren't sitting in dusty collections. They're moving quietly through circulation, passing from hand to hand, hiding in plain sight. That's the irony. The coin worth nearly $1 million doesn't sit on a velvet cushion in a museum. It could be jingling in someone's pocket at this very moment. Maybe even yours. So let me leave you with this challenge. The next time you handle a penny from 2006, don't dismiss it as just another piece of change. Don't toss it in the tip jar or let it vanish into the couch cushions. Look closer. Study it. Because what looks ordinary may carry extraordinary value. And isn't that a metaphor for life itself? The extraordinary is often disguised as the ordinary. Wealth, opportunity, transformation, they don't always come with flashing signs. Sometimes they come in the form of a little copper coin waiting for the right set of eyes to notice Dot. So, check your pennies. Dig through those jars. Open that drawer you haven't touched in years. Because hidden in that clutter could be your chance at a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And if you're the lucky one who finds the elusive 2006 no mint mark Lincoln sent in top condition, well, you might just hold in your hand not 1 cent, but nearly $1 million. And when that happens, you'll never look at spare change the same way again.